do me a favor. Keep sharing my messages. If you have access to this video, I don't know who sees my content, so I'm unable to interact with anyone. My data is still being intercepted, and thieves are still living off of my money while making me homeless yet again and trying to take away my freedom, either in a jail cell or in a psych ward. That's not the purpose of this video, though. The purpose of this video, other than just asking you to continue to share my videos when I do make them, because when I get a word, it's because God wants it to be shared. And it is extremely wrong and really just downright evil at this point. But in an effort to remain grounded, I'm making a conscious choice to not focus on that, to not focus on the evil and the hate and the greed and the jealousy, and working just to stay grounded until this is resolved. And then hopefully I won't have to work so hard to stay grounded. But I would appreciate it if you would share this message, because I think more people need to hear this. I want to give you an idea of what stalking really is. And obviously, some people know, the people that have been participating in stalking me, even the people that have attempted to project at me that I am not being stalked, and to be stalked from the perspective of a survivor of aggravated stalking with the intent to do harm. When anyone, but particularly people who have a platform, have a following of any sort, anyone with any kind of ability to reach other people, particularly young people, because they can be influenced more easily. They can also be influenced to take on an ideology, to take on terminology, and to misuse very impactful words. And stalking is one of those words. And this just really has become something that is just really gaining traction in terms of being out of control. The misuse of the word stalking on social media in particular. But just amongst friends groups, even amongst young people. And what it does is it does harm to victims and survivors of stalking. It takes away from the experience that someone who is violently stalked or was violently stalked has had no choice but to recover from. And some people never recover from it. And so for the people that don't recover from it, the people that end up losing their life because of it, the people that become very sick because of the stalking, or the people that end up self-deleting because of the stalking, it is a dishonor to the memory of those people and to the families of those people. And this is not to any particular group of people. As you know, I've said this many times, there's no prejudice in the kingdom of heaven or in the kingdom of darkness. When you take away the impactfulness of a word, and when a word becomes very overused, victims lose their voice, survivors lose their voice. And when we're talking about things like stalking or even domestic violence, any sort of abuse, it is important for not only past victims and survivors of stalking, but present and future. And God forbid that you or someone you love would ever be made a victim of something like stalking, because of the trauma that I had to heal through and the energy that I had attracted to me, and because the ancestry that I have, the background with my family, and the intentionality for my life, the narrative that was created before I think I was even born for my life, that involved intentional abuse, the use of the narcissistic spirit to harm me, to keep me low so that my energy could be harvested and an entire family and group of people could essentially live off my energy and then sacrifice me right around this time. It didn't work out the way that they had planned, by the grace of God, by the glory of God. Amen. And because of that, though, I became almost apathetic and accustomed to this narcissistic energy. And anybody who has entangled with a narcissist or a trauma bond or toxic relationship of any sort, to some degree, you will have quite a bit of observation and aggression, and there's cycles typically. I can distinguish that from stalking. And even in my last trauma bond, my ex, Ryan, made several unannounced visits to my home, and I never even opened the door. He would attempt to send me things, and I would not receive them. And even then, I did not consider that stalking, nor did I hold it as stalking. I never filed a police report on him because of that. I considered that the end of a toxic relationship. And right or wrong, that's how I chose to handle that. And it's because I kept it in perspective. And I think what is happening right now is that because there is a large sense of entitlement in our world, and because everybody is desperate to be viral, to chase after clout, I don't truly know why people are really misusing that word in particular, but going as far as seeking criminal or civil action for what is clearly not stalking. Even then, going a step further and creating these large, very loud, very extensive, potentially even clickbait or rage bait, I'm not totally sure, interactions between influencers and these competitions and all of that, where the word stalking is getting thrown around, and it's wrong. And particularly if you claim to be a survivor of trauma, it's even more wrong. And what that does is it reflects on how unhealed you are, and that you in fact are not a survivor, and you may be living in a perpetual state of victimhood. What stalking truly is the M word in slow motion. I wish I could remember where I heard that from, because I would definitely be giving credit, because it is the most accurate articulation of stalking that I have ever heard. Stalking can have lifelong impacts to your mental, emotional, and physical health. Being in a perpetual state of fight or flight, having your nervous system, your paranervous system, dysregulated. It takes years to recover from true stalking, if you do ever truly recover. No one who has ever truly been stalked or is a survivor of stalking, no one would ever minimize that to an online fight with another influencer. No one. That might be cyberbullying, it might be harassment, but it is not stalking. Stalking has an intention behind it, and it's never good. What I was forced to endure has changed me forever. I have to grieve intentionally. I have to set aside time for that grief. Parts of myself that no longer exist because of the experience that I'm still actually enduring even now. Still unable to allow my nervous system to truly heal, because these true monsters will not stop, and because the Department of Justice in the United States of America in 2026 does not protect victims. You would think that when the perpetrator to Miss Mika Miller, in that case, when something like that happens, we bring meaning to those losses when we learn and do better. You would think by the FBI indicting her disgusting ex-husband that people would take stalking a little more seriously. But clearly, the seriousness is not being as widely embraced throughout the entire network of the Federal Bureau of Investigations, at least not in Ohio. I cannot go for a hike by myself, which is something I used to do almost every single day for most of my life. I cannot go to my favorite places in nature by myself, and I'm an independent person. If someone walks too closely to me, I have an increased heart rate, increased blood pressure. If someone tries to just pay me a compliment and they catch me off guard too quickly, I will jump back and respond in a way that could be offensive to them. And then I feel bad because it's not about them. It's solely my nervous system reacting. People who claim to be doctors, who claim to be your family, they claim to be of God, and then they disgrace God and dishonor God when someone should have the ability to speak on what has happened to them. They should have the ability to heal. And unfortunately, that is not even something that I've been able to do. I have not been protected at all. At all. I've had to do all of this on my own, at least in the last year, since the people who took part in stalking me killed my dog. Because of the increased efforts with the intentional voodoo to continue to try to strip things from me, to continue to try to catch me off guard, continue to try to confine me to either a psych ward or a jail cell. Me. And not a single man has stepped forward to protect me. Not one. That should tell you a lot about the state of our world. And on top of that, you have influencers so out of touch with reality that they dishonor and disgrace survivors by holding themselves as a victim after some parasocial online engagement that somebody called them out for their shitty behavior. That is not stalking. And shame on the attorneys, the judges, and the magistrates who are supporting civil and criminal action, wasting taxpayer dollars, wasting precious time in a courtroom to pursue cases that are clearly not stalking, while true victims and survivors are fighting for their life and they're fighting for their right to heal. Allow what is sacred to be sacred. Someone healing from abuse, especially something as truly evil and diabolical as stalking. Stalking changes you. It isolates you. It allows for predators to gain the upper hand over their victims, as they continue to try to do with me, especially if they belong to a human moving network, a secret society, a cult, or a coven, like the ones who continue to try to pursue and stalk me. If they should happen to have money, like the ones that continue to try to stalk me, they will also elicit the help of gang stalkers, people who are also vulnerable. They intentionally seek out people in need, whether it's for housing, for cars, for an immigration status, and they pay them to watch, monitor, hack, and stalk their victims. And if they belong to a network of Freemasons, if they belong to a brotherhood or a fraternity or a sisterhood, and they choose to elicit the help of those people, you're not just being stalked by one person. The effort. These people pull up and park next to me. This has been going on for years in an attempt to gain access to my device so they can continue to steal, commit fraud, and not be found out for the lunatic psychopaths that they truly are. The weak cowards they truly are. Have to stay hidden in the shadows because they're pussies. Real men don't attack women at all. Even the ones they don't like, they don't attack them. They protect women. And real women don't attack other women. They don't stalk them, dig in to every crevice of their life. They don't hire private investigators. They don't make up lies. They don't scapegoat. They don't steal from. They don't impersonate. They don't take vacations in their name. They don't go to doctor's appointments in their name. They don't go across social media platforms with hundreds of fake accounts. They don't make fake porn sites, fake dating sites. They don't tell vicious, violent lies for which you will face criminal and civil action. And in light of the refusal of any kind of accountability, any at all, not even a shred of accountability from any one of these people, still continued efforts to try to take away my freedom. That's how you know you're dealing with evil. And that's how you know that these people will not stop until they are stopped. And they will be stopped. But in the meantime, I take great comfort in knowing that despite everything that these people took, which was pretty much everything from me, multiple times, despite all of that, still stronger. I'm still more beautiful. I'm still more abundant. I'm still more grounded. I'm damn sure more mentally sane than any one of you. I'm more healthy, still loving and kind. I'm even more self-aware than I was before. I'm more graceful to myself. I look for opportunities for joy, even more than I did before. I'm far more patient with other people because I need that patience with me. And there will never come a day, I don't care who you are, if you're a king, if you're a clown, if you're a doctor, if you're a judge or a magistrate, if you're a mother or a father, a baby mother or a baby father, I will never be gaslit out of my reality again. I will never have my experiences minimized again. I will never be projected on again. And I will not be abused by you. And I damn sure will never be your victim because I am a survivor. There is no position in this world that anyone holds that gives you the right to affect another person's life so profoundly. Like, as in stalking. As in aggravated stalking with the intention to do harm. I do not care how long it takes me to get justice. You will be held accountable. Every last one of you will be held accountable. Even more so because of your refusal to take accountability.